All right, and we're back this week by popular demand with Hatty Preston, everybody, from the British Royals. You killed it last. I think people were like, we should, instead of a podcast, just have you here.
Her dulcet British tones, being ever so wise. Great.
Did you see how he perked up when he was like, Kenyon, you can introduce Hattie? And he was like, okay, so today.
Yeah, what's the book, man?
So this week I picked up
I'm actually very
book from
prepared
the
to pull
public
like a
library.
proposal ring. I'm like,
called
hey, I
Pussy.
want to spend the rest.
So glad we got you here.
Don't beat around the bush. And I want to tell you and my other thousand about me and Kwame like fascinating.
Spontaneously start playing the accordion.
What is the what is the section of the public library that has just pussy?
Pussy, colon.
It was in the self-help section. It was called Pussy.
It's the most honest self-help book because most are like how to lose weight and it's like pussy. That we know what you want. We just try to tell you how to get it. That's what I hear. People are like, working out cures depression. No, pussy does. And going to the gym is a middleman to getting laid.
No, it's for women. It's not for men.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's for women.
That's why we brought Hattie on.
Yeah, because we need to talk about because we're going to look at one.
yeah, because it's like us talking about
vagina. Can you show us the? Yeah, sure. And then we'll talk about
us talking about Sasquatch. It's like you've never seen it. You have no idea.
Yeah, it's called Pussy: A Reclamation by Regines Thomashauer. And she's founder of the School for Womanly Arts.
What is a school for womanly arts? What is that?
It's
ribbon dancing.
is it arts for women?
You literally touched your forehead like you were frustrated. You're like womanly arts. You couldn't even.
Is it arts for women or is it like womanly art?
With the flavor of a woman.
Well, it was a school she founded in New York. It was a brownstone. She converted it into kind of a vagina.
Cool.
Wait,
like it's shaped.
Converted the school into a vagina?
No, the brownstone.
So it's shaped like a.
Yeah, and she teaches.
Not the most attractive shape though. Like I think I'm just saying genitals are gross. Like
yeah.
Genitals are gross.
Also, how
not according to her.
No, but like if a vagina, you just saw one show up on a beach, right? Wouldn't even poke it with a stick.
Yeah.
Not the most attractive. I mean, all of them.
They're all beautiful in their own.
I don't care. I'm not gonna say. I think dicks and pussies are gross.
Yeah. So are we reclaiming the word pussy or them?
I don't know.
I feel like I'm attached to mine. Do you know what I mean? I don't think it's like it gets away from me, and I have to every now and again be like, come on, like the word pussy.
You're claiming the word.
Yeah.
And your connection.
How do you feel about the word pussy?
How do I feel? I find about it. I don't think I like it used in sex. I'm trying to work out if I do.
If a guy was like, oh, I just got some pussy last night.
Yeah, that's when I don't like it. And I hate with a passion the phrase eating pussy. I can't it goes through me.
It really takes all the magic.
Is it the pussy or the eating that you don't like?
Yeah, it's the eating. Like I'm trying to work out when
eating out or like eating vagina or like eating.
How do you think your mom would feel about listening to this one? Because I know she was upset about the last one. I hate the phrase. Like, let's really dive into the phrase.
Do you know what
we
called it when I was little? Was the rosebuds. We called it our rosebud. She made us call it
our
rosebud.
I think too much. I think a vagina is not a pussy, but it ain't a rosebud.
So bear in mind that I grew up in a family where we called it a rosebud. So pussy's still a shock.
Reminds me of the end of Citizen Kane.
I don't think I mind the word pussy. I don't think there's many words I mind.
What if the guy says like eating vagina or eating out?
That's the thing, you can't.
Vagina's awkward.
Awful.
Vagina is awkward.
Too scientific.
Yeah.
There's so few. I mean, it's such a old trodden ground. There are so few words that aren't like childish or aren't like. So I don't know.
What's your go-to word?
Cunnilingus?
In the middle of sex or like just life? So like life is foof or like your nunny. Yeah.
Foof?
Foof's I think foof's worse than pussy.
What are you
it's like the name of a dog you don't care about. Fucking
you foof.
Foof is, I think, isn't that thing you smoke weed out of so your parents don't?
What is foof?
Foof, it's your foof.
I think that's an Ethiopian dish.
Can I?
Yeah, I wouldn't use
I
that.
will never say, can I eat your food?
But also you can't use it during sex. That's not a word you can use during sex.
I'd rather say pussy forever.
Yeah, so I don't think I mind it. I don't know why.
Wait, so what do you say during sex? Other than you should appreciate this. I imagine you say that a lot. Other than say, think about this because this is never going to happen.
You're fucking welcome.
Yeah. You say, really take a mental snapshot because this is the peak. This is it.
Foof. Is that a British term or is that a term that you just use? What is foof?
I don't know. I just that's what
F-U-F-O?
I've
I think Hattie makes up words.
think it's
When-
I think she knows.
When did you go from rosebud to foof?
I don't think my parents
Like
That's the
did.
8
Tower
years
of
old?
Terror
I think that
right
might have been
there.
school. We start calling it foof, but I don't think my parents did. I think it might be still rosebud.
I think
for all
that's
that.
actually going backwards from rosebud to
Yeah,
foof.
to
That's
foof.
like
I don't know. My godmother's family will call it their tink.
No, you're just making all
No,
these
they're
words.
calling it a
Let's go
tank.
back to pussy. I never wanted to say
yeah,
like
like-
pussy's a great word.
Pussy, I know. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
It does flummox me a bit with the nannying stuff because I don't know what word you all use for like kids use, but it doesn't seem like kids have a word for it. They all call it
Use a
their.
word.
They all
Kids
call it
we like to
vagina.
pretend vaginas don't even exist.
No,
They're
kid,
like,
all
no.
the
Yeah.
kids I call it vagina. They all call
well,
it
she says in her
vagina,
book
so-
that little boys have dicks, but little girls have nothing down there.
Yeah.
That's
But
how.
that is kind of a thing as a kid,
That's
though. Like,
true, I'd
you don't
say.
really talk about.
Yeah, no one. I remember. Do you
I
remember,
remember when I was
the
like
first vagina you saw, like you Googled or?
Googled.
I remember. I mean, that was the first time I saw a vagina.
When you Googled one?
Yeah.
You Googled vagina.
Yeah, I Googled vagina. I was in elementary school where I thought,
What are you
this is
doing?
weird. I was
Yeah.
a kid. I saw a computer, so you look up
Yeah.
anything you want. Vagina. That's
Hi-
100%.
Yeah.
Did you do boobs or vagina first?
I go for the gold.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's- well, we ain't gonna fuck around with the
was you telling
openers.
me-
I go
you told me
straight to the
you were-
headline.
Yeah.
baby.
You were 9 and you typed in vagina into Google. It's
Yeah,
like,
well, at least he's looking because I feel like some boys get down there when they're 14 and like, what?
7 years
What?
old and he was looking up clitoris on Good
Good for you. That's progressive.
trying to do my
Doing your
research.
homework. I like
And
that.
you know
Kenya.
what?
I love that about
Horrified. I
you.
was like, oh, it looked like a stabbing. I was like, what are you talking about?
No.
Where did her go?
I got asked a really funny question the other day, and it's not a very appropriate question, but it's a really funny question. One of my friends, he works in like in a crash or like what you'd call like a daycare, and he was like, "Hey," so we asked
what anybody would call a date.
like a
You
crash.
call.
So he was
He
like,
works in
and
a
so they have to like
corner, or-
work in, so they have to like wipe the kids when they go to the toilet, obviously because
Yeah.
they're too little. And he was like, "Hey, can I ask a question?" He was like, "When does it blossom?" I was like, "I beg your pardon." He was like, "When does it flower?" I was like, "I don't know what you're talking about." He's like, "You know how
When's
it's
it-
closed, and then it at some stage it like opens," and I was like, I have absolutely no idea. Like
Yeah, it's not like on a schedule. It's
like
not
I
like an
have,
actual...
but you know how you guys all know when your balls drop, it's like puberty and like when you
Oh, we
grow
know.
hair. Like,
Yeah, you
like-
start becoming a demon.
Yeah.
I remember the day of the darkness.
Yeah, like-
I remember my balls dropped.
Oh,
I was
yeah,
like,
when you were
I
in
think-
6th
so I
grade and you
think-
first discovered that, like, oh, like I can like masturbate.
Yeah.
do
Like
that?
you
And
know
then
when it
it's
starts being like,
It's easy for
but this is what is it? But this is what's interesting about is it talking about the whole like women have nothing down there. Like I am an aged woman. Like I'm a woman. I have no idea what the development of your
It's just
It's
yeah,
like
you don't talk about.
when
it.
it
I don't think it
opens.
even blossoms though.
Yeah, because I've
I don't-
been
I don't
down
think
on some
that's-
women, and let me tell you, I wouldn't say that blossom.
But,
I
like,
wouldn't say that's a
No,
flower.
but have you seen? This is great. I'm not going to assume you've seen little girls, but like when you're a little girl, it's closed. It's like
okay,
a
Homeland Security's
Yeah,
not-
yeah,
no,
Let's
we've
all-
never
let's
seen
all-
like
Actually,
let's,
yeah.
let's all assume
Don't-
that we
don't
have.
answer that.
Please assume we
Sorry,
have it.
Let's all on air say that we have never and will never see that.
I'm insulted that you had to make a disclaimer like, yeah, I'm gonna assume you guys have.
Yeah,
Assume it.
Yeah, that'd be great. I'm like, actually, Kwame got no bit of leave.
Yeah, what the fuck are you
honest.
talking
He's
about?
got an ankle monitor. on.
Christ.
I assume you've seen it, Kwame, but I know you have.
But like there is a like when you're little, it's literally like a little slit. Like it's a so I don't know when it opens. I don't know
I
that.
remember being until I was like 4. Like I asked my mom. I was like, so how does your penis work? She was like, I don't have a
Yeah.
penis. And I was like, what do you mean? Everybody has penis. She's like, no, that's a different thing. And I'm like, what?
No, for the little girl I look after, who's 5. She was watching her mum change her little brother, who's a baby, like do his diaper, and she turned around and pointed his penis. She's like, "Mummy, when does my one grow?" But I was like, "That's so interesting." She doesn't like. She's doesn't. No one's talked to her about it.
But yeah, so on the cover or on the back cover it says so the praise for this book, praise for pussy is what it
There's a
says.
lot. It's got a lot of good
Yeah,
reviews.
yeah,
Let me tell you, Pussy
Human
5 stars on
civilization.
iTunes.
That's what his praise was.
Yeah.
Anything anyone's ever done.
Is praise for Pussy. Every monument for God. Every single.
Like the
That
pyramids.
was actually the first stone drawing. Was just someone being like, "Look how artistic I am." Just trying to get laid.
So it says Regina is one of the most profound and provocative thought leaders in the world today.
Vaginas are good. I've never thought about it like that.
And she will wrestle a woman to the ground if need be to get her to give up her resistance to her own desires and her pleasure.
That is.
So rape.
Rape?
So,
Yeah, that seems a little
She'll rape a woman until she enjoys it.
Fuck.
There's a lot of people
I
these days
don't-
that will rape you
I
with
don't
their
think
ideology.
I don't think that's gonna. That
Yeah,
would
there's
settle
a
me. It would be
dramatic-
like she wants you to
dramatic
enjoy your vagina,
twist
so much
in
she's gonna
that
do it
praise.
for you. Like if a yeah. I've had fellas offer that up, and I'm like, what I would do to you. Like, it's not sexy at all.
Yeah. You're like, yeah, I get it. Yeah, you
I
can do
hear
that.
you, but
Yeah, we
could
have
do
a
that.
structure
I just
in place.
don't believe, like, the way you're holding that glass just doesn't make me believe that you will.
So it opens up. It says pussy. It's arguably the most powerful pejorative word in the English language.
Well, I don't know about that.
Probably not.
Kwame's like, I could think of a couple.
I'm gonna think of a.
The fact that we're
one.
saying pussy makes it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
saying pussy.
I
I thought that was gonna go pussy. It's probably like the most powerful thing, and I was
Yeah,
like, yeah.
I'd agree with that. I would agree with that. Yeah.
The fact because they were reading this book, I wouldn't do that if it was, anything.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's a word.
But you were saying, so you do think it is like a pejorative, like a strong pejorative.
I
word.
don't think it's pejorative.
But I thought you said you don't like when people use
I
it.
don't.
It's not
because
sexy.
Because it's not sexy. Like, it's more like a.
It's not. If I
sexy during sex.
if I called Kenyon a pussy, that's a pejorative.
Also, it would be accurate. It would just be a scientific. That's just a definition.
Sexy during
I'm
sex,
so.
right?
I just think the word itself is. I don't know. I just don't
Well,
really
you come
have
from
any. It's
England,
not
where it's
evocative.
the C word.
Cat. Yeah, well, yeah, that's the thing with the C word. Now,
you guys say that during sex?
I actually, someone has said it once, but
During sex?
yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I
But
try not to talk because I feel like it's a bad time to bomb during sex.
but that's the thing. Like,
Very nervous.
I think
If you're like, oh, that line didn't work.
I think, I think very few guys would offer it up because it could be a fucking room killer. Do you know what I mean? Like, it could be. You could have.
Really?
Yeah.
It
Well,
could be
no
like.
one's. I mean, if you're throwing out cunt during sex, you're a psychopath. You're
No,
way
it's-
bigger.
It's got to be going great.
Yeah. She says, no one calls me pussy when they want to communicate how radiant and beautiful I look on a certain day.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Probably not. Yeah. Probably.
You can't use it like that. You can't be like, you look very pussy
You look
today.
a real pussy today.
I'm sorry. Try turning that to the Pussycat Dolls because
Oh, yeah.
they bringing it. They don't mind.
They don't use the word to tell me how expertly and thoroughly I have managed to accomplish a task.
Yeah, but
You're being such a pussy.
but they don't call you a tit either. Like
Yeah.
tit. It's just part of you.
But she says pussy is all that and more. So she wants to put that word in.
But choose a different word. That's just not
Yeah,
going to be the
it's
word.
really not what the word means.
It's not like penis is used like that either. It's not like we're all going around being like, oh my god, you are a beautiful dick today.
Also, penis is used almost exclusively negative.
for an asshole.
You're
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
you're a
for
dick,
yeah.
you're-
You're not like
You're a dick,
you really penised up that job today.
Yeah,
Johnson.
yeah. But it's like we have wanker. Like wanker is pejorative, and it's for masturbation. You're like the greatest joy that God has given us. Like, why do we use that as a thing? Yeah. Well done.
Yeah, good. It's a great time.
But she says the solution for the epidemic of powerlessness among women, which neither great success nor higher education is able to solve, is simply reconnecting a woman to her pussy.
I'd agree with a lot of that in the way of what we just literally talking about, which is educating people about their pussy. Because I'm amazed at how many like incredibly intelligent, sentient women actually don't quite understand it completely. Like,
So you think that's why they're powerless?
It definitely hurts. Well, everybody's pretty uneducated.
yeah, I think everyone's a bit
The fact
uneducated,
that
and not
they
necessarily
just
girls
throw
and
us
boys.
in, like, you guys, all right, you guys get together and just
Yeah,
figure it out. I don't
and-
want to fuck. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. I'd say there's a lot.
So,
I'd say
so
there's a
you
lot
have,
more.
you
Yeah,
have,
it
you have,
is. It's fucking. It's like
you have-
it's like space.
you have
Like,
two women.
yeah.
One graduated from Harvard Business School.
Oh yeah.
One reconnected to her pussy.
Yeah. But that's what I mean. Like, I wouldn't say. Yeah. So I wouldn't say
I
that.
think
Like,
Hillary Clinton would have won if she would have known more about her pussy. That was the only thing.
She knew more about her ovulation cycle. That one.
Yeah.
But that's what I mean. I don't
she
think.
even ever had a vagina. I don't
I
even
think
know.
It's just like a smooth Barbie doll, like.
I think you go down there and it's just the secrets of what happened to Benghazi. I think it's just an extra lock.
I don't agree that like it trumps all your. That's a bad word to use, but like it like supersedes. Like it supersedes all your education and all your abilities. But like, I am amazed at how you can be like these incredibly intelligent. Well, like there's still a hole in the knowledge, which is the hole. Like
Yeah.
we
Well,
are
it's
a bit. I mean,
the
it's like that.
difference in-
I don't know when it flowers. Like I don't.
The difference
know
in
that.
knowledge you're allowed to have is
Obtain. Yeah.
like between the two. Like if a girl went to have sex with a guy who doesn't know what the clit is, she'd be like, I guess I gotta show him. If you went to have sex with a guy for the first time
And you're
and
like,
you're like, what's a testicle? He'd be like,
Yeah,
what the fuck are you?
yeah.
You know what I
It's
mean?
also a lot easier.
Yeah.
It's pretty. The dick is straightforward.
Yeah.
It's just here's a tube. That's
But it
it.
is a
I don't
difference in
know. Like
education.
as someone who's like very used to non-circumcised, I came over here and had to be like, oh, what?
Is it less
Where's the
complicated?
other bit?
It has to be
Like,
less complicated, right?
What's complicated
Yours.
about being uncircumcised?
It's
You guys got
it's just a hood.
It's just a hood, yeah, and it's a gauge, and also we get a gauge. What you get from a non-circumcised one is a gauge. Whereas over here, I had to be like, I don't
you
know.
need a gauge.
you know when it pops out
definitely
that
know,
you're
'cause
ready.
It's like a
Pops
guy
out.
taking his hood off, like I'm
Yeah,
ready
you're
for work.
You're like, pops out. You're like, yeah. Whereas over here, I had to be like, where's the bit
Yeah.
that I know the thing?
Kind of like a guy taking his shirt off when he's about to fight a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, it's on.
Oh, it is on.
Oh, it's on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
That's great.
But she says when a woman turns on her pussy, she's actually turning on her life force and connecting to her divinity.
Do you feel like that every time you have sex?
I
That you're turning on your life
feel.
force?
I have to say I'm one of those people who feels like an incredible sense of power when I'm feeling like sexy and like on it in the same way that like when I'm like just due on my period or I'm just after, I feel like I ran a bin. Like when you're on it, it kind of is. Like, I am one of those people. It's probably really boring to say this because but I think it's very powerful. I find mine is probably the center of my power. Yeah. And yeah, good sex. Oh, it's just like.
I feel like there's a difference between what you're talking about and then what she gets into the later half of the book, where she basically calls pussy her new god. So.
Well, I would say it was. I say it's the original. I say it's the OG.
Yeah,
I say it. I say it's
We
always.
just mean God.
She's a volatile god.
Oh,
She gets me into a lot of trouble. Like,
cruel, and
doesn't-
unforgiving.
it's not always consistent. Is God.
This is a quote from her book. She says, "For a woman, the pursuit of happiness must include her experience of rapture. And the only way to truly connect with the female body's capacity to feel rapture is through her pussy. This is not pornographic pussy I'm talking about. This is pussy, pure and simple, undomesticated pussy, humble, glorious, knowing her place in the world pussy, no doubts, native indigenous pussy."
What it's called? This is just a list of all types of blind pussy, cerebral palsy, very inclusive pussy. Pussy, introvert pussy, extrovert pussy, Capricorn pussy.
Yeah, but she's really into it.
Really, really. So would
Native indigenous. Just
indigenous?
the fucking Animal Planet level.
She definitely didn't know what to write there. She just was at a loss for words.
I think that's what actually killed Steve Irwin. He tried to wrangle a wild pussy. And it killed
That's it did what it did to most men, swallowed him whole, and we never saw him again. Steve's actually at a brunch he doesn't want to right now, wearing a sweater he doesn't like.
I don't know. I do think that is part of like I'd say your 20s, but I know it happens to girls. Like, is coming to terms with like you as a woman, and I suppose that is the center of it. Is that and like what your power is, and you know what you get away with. What
What do you mean by power?
in a world?
But does it give you power because of how men react to it? Are you talking about
100%?
So she kind of divorces it from sex a little bit. Sex is part of it, but it's also not part of it.
So she said, "Yeah, what does she mean by like knowing what it gets you, or like knowing the power?" That's what I'm trying to knowing the power behind it. Does she mean like what it gets you in the world, or like what like physically sexual? You know? What I mean?
That's what I suppose. Is it the anatomy of it, like the?
I don't know. We'll get more into it later. This is just kind of the intro.
We got a lot to dive in with
Yeah.
vaginas here. We can't. We're gonna be. This is a 5-hour episode. We're just me asking Hattie. I'm like, but how does it?
But how?
But how does it?
Yeah, so she started this school of womanly arts to teach kind of this pussy religion or whatever she calls it. And as
or Lena Dunham, as we like to call her.
So it started small. She gives an example of like how cool it is with the story of her like two cousins. One of the cousins felt embarrassed by going to it and didn't really do it. And so the cousin that really got into it, her dreams were fulfilled. Her husband's sex life got much better. Her career goals were met. The other, who did not continue on the course, said her husband turned into an alcoholic, started tearing the family apart. Her daughter dropped out of college after being date raped.
It sounds like fucking witchcraft. What the fuck
Also,
is
like
this?
correlation is equal causation.
fight, yeah,
right? I don't think
This
knowing
actually-
where
The one who turned away from the faith was cursed to walk the land
No,
forever.
but it's not insane that, because it's about being so in tune with yourself and your wants and who you are. And
Well, she said the one who didn't go through with it
Yeah.
went through with something else.
So what an
went
asshole
through-
thing to be like, yeah, your daughter was date raped because you guys didn't complete the course. What the fuck is wrong?
yeah.
But the other person who didn't complete it went to like a different course where she learned that the most important thing was to connect to your heart, not your pussy.
I mean, I'd say that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say that's a more important thing.
So she's saying
I
no.
like how you're like, nope.
Regina's saying no.
No,
No
she's
heart.
saying no, and then she ends it after her story of her cousin. She says, "Now it's your turn to choose."
Well, I don't think that seems like a
You're a monster.
Scientology kind of.
You're like the worst person at Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
I think it's also mad that you've disconnected the two. I think that's insane. Like,
But the heart isn't independent to a woman.
oh,
Like a
you
man-
mean you mean exclusive to a woman? Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, so a man, yeah, okay.
Well, a lot of women would argue it is. A lot of women would argue that.
Yeah,
what do
yeah.
you mean
Your
independent?
guys work independently.
Yeah. It's like you guys don't have.
yours
yeah.
has no connection between the two.
Yeah, you
Fucking
don't
give
really.
up. I
yeah.
am permanently amazed.
He's
Yeah.
his own thing. Me and my penis we're roommates. We share the same
Yeah,
body. and
we don't really
just
have
try to
any.
keep
We don't.
things going.
We go weeks without talking sometimes.
It's like it's
He'll
like
just bump
it's like
into me.
a-
He's like, yeah. I messaged this girl on Tinder. I'm like, I didn't like her. No, we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it. Listen to
It's
me.
a life. It's like a lifelong road trip,
Yeah.
and you're just trying to find the right station.
Oh,
that
yeah.
both of you like, and it's constantly fighting.
But I would agree. So with that thing, so my mum, she's very like body. We're very free. We're a very naked
Yeah.
family. Like we're extremely naked family. So
Don't like that at all.
So okay,
Yeah, I
well,
don't- yeah.
so
You're an extremely naked family, but use the word rosebud.
yeah, I guess maybe that's
If you're
why.
naked enough, I feel like you know it's not a rosebud. I feel like I see
Yeah.
my mom's pussy. When
I've seen that. No, it's a rosebud. But at the same time, she didn't talk to us about sex very much, like at all. So we're very body like cool, but she never really talked. And even now, her relationship, in her mind, the link from women to sex is for me a very problematic one. And so I worked my stuff out very much independently of my mum, more through like friends.
I
And
think it's most people.
Do
I don't know
Do
actually.
you talk
I
to your
don't.
mom about sex?
You mean like
not the like nitty gritties of it, but like
'Cause
I wish my mum talked about sex more freely, and like I imagine I will with my children, because I think it's the root of a lot of her, not unhappinesses, because she's amazing, but like I think she would benefit so much from being someone who spoke about it more and
Is
was
she
more
very,
understanding
like,
of it. And she's a
Sexually conservative,
Yeah.
like slut shaming. Type thing,
yes,
like-
she's of a generation whereby if the woman is drunk, she can't really call that it was, non-consensual. My mum is of that, and it's a real problem. But I also think that she grew up in a place and a time where sex was a bit more for a man. It was a bit for him. That's one of those things that women did because that's what you're supposed to do. Whereas I've grown up in a time where sex is for us and we love it and we're like encouraged to love it and we're encouraged to love it as much as, if not more than.
And England was always kind of like that.
Yeah, I was going to say I'm
Compared-
British, so
Yeah,
it's
have you
very
seen
different.
you
anyway.
guys
Yeah.
That's the 1700s? Holy shit, dude. That isn't
Yeah.
for anybody. Fucking wearing socks up to your fucking belly button.
Yeah.
I'm like, God damn.
But it is just uncomfortable.
Yeah, the way you smell after that shit, that no one was enjoying. Men were being punished equally.
But so we're going. So in that respect, I think Regina's probably bang on, which is your relationship to that and your ability to talk about that and your emotional connection to your pussy and exploration of it. I think probably does directly change then how you are as a wife, how you are as a mother, how you react to people around you, how you react to members of the family, because it's a freedom probably and an element of that's gonna be self-acceptance, isn't it? I think. Yeah, getting at. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly, which isn't her being like, if you don't come to my class, your daughter's going to get defiled. Like, that's
Do you
not
think
what
that
she's
would help?
saying.
Do you think that would help
But why-
anybody
why would-
then? Like,
why
like,
would
like
she
that would
put
help
that
you as
in
a
there?
man if you know what I mean? Like, say I have a daughter and I'm more accepting of certain.
Apparently,
things of
that
her,
is
you
the
know what I'm
final evolution. The final stage of the man's evolution is when he has a daughter, because it's the first time he's seen boobs that aren't for his pleasure.
That's very. It seems
Yeah.
very true, but also very funny that
Yeah.
that is.
Apparently, that's
It's
the final
just
stage.
finally
Yeah.
feeling a certain like. Oh,
He's like,
okay.
oh no,
Yeah, I'm just so like. What advice would you have for like a young woman then?
me.
Hattie? Yeah, and you seem to have like a lot of opinions behind. So like, what is a way that someone, like, what do you really mean by accepting?
Yeah, yeah.
somebody?
What have you? Because you said you spent your 20s kind of like figuring that shit out
I'm
yourself.
still a
What are
little
what are the
confused
things
of
you've
what
like
that is.
figured out?
I was really, really, really late to masturbating. Like really, really late.
Like
uh,
past your 20s?
30.
What?
30 was when I
Really?
did
You're
it.
fucking
Yeah,
serious.
30 was the
That's
first
when
time
you,
I did
If
like-
I
it.
have more than 5
Yeah.
minutes
When
alone,
when
it
you
definitely is
regularly,
Yeah, 30 was
like
the
you would
first time
do
I
it
did
like
it.
every once in a while, like you'd feel bad about
No,
it.
no,
like
I
you
couldn't
just
do
did
it.
not.
I couldn't do it. I didn't know how. Like I don't know. I couldn't do it.
Really?
Yeah. So I didn't. So until I was 30. But do you know what do you know what the downside of that is? Is that so for me, I was completely beholden to a man for orgasms. So that's how that shifts.
Oh, so
Like-
that's yes. Then it's like you go to this thing is like oh,
Yeah,
this is my-
they
this is my happiness
they
comes
have
from
to do
this.
it because otherwise I can't do it. So in it, I think there was a massive shift when that happened because suddenly you're like, oh, But like, you're not beholden. There's no, and I'm an anomaly. I do appreciate
She opens the next chapter with something that a man could never do, which is a 1 hour long orgasm.
Wait, is that a thing women can do?
I mean, me and Kwame travel to the ends of the earth. Trying to, we see flames away from the microphone.
Doctor Strange shit. An hour long.
I'm an hour though.
Well, she opens up this chapter with a story about, her friend. She had two friends. They would teach a course in having a 1 hour long orgasm.
What college is this? Who's going into debt about? You're like, I'm trying to become an engineer.
We'll go more into
There
the
are worse things
college
to go
later, but
down.
it sounds like the worst college in the world.
A 1 hour orgasm. You're like, my parents put out a mortgage on the house for
Well,
me to be here.
What
the
is
lecture?
an hour long
The
orgasm
lecture.
or just an hour of.
The lecture is the lady just spread eagle in front of the class while the guy strokes her for an hour.
Wait, are you?
That's
Are you
tantric
serious?
then, isn't it?
Is that a bit or are you fucking serious? That's like a live sex show in fucking Holland.
It's not a sex show though. It's an instructive
Can you imagine
course.
seeing that and then being like, yeah, this is serious?
Yeah, I think it's like $37 in Guadalajara.
Yeah.
So her friends do that course, and they were scheduled to do it at the university, but her one friend got sick and couldn't do it. So yeah, her friend got sick. They spent the whole day taking her to homeopaths and chiropractors, and she didn't get better.
No, she didn't. Legend.
They said nothing was working, so finally they called an emergency ER doctor instead of going to a chiropractor.
They called an actual doctor instead of going to voodoo.
That was their last.
Instead of
their
the last ditch effort. They're like,
Yeah.
well, let's consult an actual professional instead of.
Yeah. So as the lady was being taken away to the hospital, she turned to the author of this book and says, "You need to take my place in this lecture." And she said, when she asked her if I could go in her place, her mind screamed no possible way, but somehow my pussy answered and said, "Of course I will."
This is not.
Wait, so she just grabbed her.
I still can't believe this is in a public.
It seems like
library.
she should probably. Is that legal to just grab your student and say, right now you fuck this person in front of the class?
Can you imagine being nervous? Like I was nervous to read in front of the class. Can you imagine being like, you have to go fuck in front of everybody you know? You have to go. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm kind of drunk. I'm nervous.
She says, pussy had taken over the controls. As it turns out, once unleashed and given a voice, pussy will take you places you might have never dreamed of going.
Yeah, I think, but like, no, but like, that's what I mean. Though. But that's what I mean. She doesn't make good design. Mine, maybe it's just mine. Mine is what, but she can make some dodgy calls. Do you know what I mean?
In my case, she was about to take me somewhere I had specifically decided not to go, and with a speed and intensity that was making my head
Fucking
spin.
brainworm. You can't control your actions. It just leads you.
I feel like this is the beginning of any argument where it's like my pussy was taking me to a point that I knew it was not real, but I had to.
But you can't say that about
No,
her.
that sounds like a text you get the
Like-
night after she goes to a party. It's like, my pussy did some things last night.
You can't say that about your dick, though.
Yeah, I can.
Yeah,
But you can, but that's not good, right? Like, she's saying this is
no,
good.
but I do think yours do make decisions that are quite remarkable. I wouldn't say many women honestly believe that they are.
You mean
There's
remarkable
some
like
pretty
you mean
impressive-
remarkable like good or
Yeah,
like
no,
wow, how
huh?
could somebody do
like
that?
but I think the joy of the way the female hormonal system works is that very rarely does lust make a decision that like ration wouldn't.
She says you should have your pussy make all your decisions.
Are you saying you put them up next to each other? The pussy
maybe
is more logical.
maybe that's the point. Maybe the pussy is maybe what she calls a pussy, girls would call like gut. You know, like your
So you're
gut
saying
read,
that's
your
a
gut
more
instinct.
logical thing than the.
It's more grounded. It's more like rooted in something. It's like instinctive because it's not rational. It's instinctive because like I've made horrendous decisions, but there's always been a part of me that's like
Well, I feel like you guys have more
like,
time to. You have to think about because like worst case scenario, you're like I have to raise a child, and worst case scenario, I'm like I have to buy a bus ticket. Like I have to leave, and there's just two different ways.
That is because the
If
stakes.
she's aligning it with
the stakes are
that, then
higher.
yes. Because I think if the pussy is programmed for consequences, then yes. But then she seems to be insisting that it's the opposite, which is her pussy just took over and was like, go. Like,
She said, after ignoring your pussy for a couple decades, it's not easy to hear it speak. So one thing you can do is purchase a puppet of a pussy, and then consult with it in the morning before you go about your day. Say like, pussy, do you want to wear the red dress or the blue? Pussy, do you want to go out tonight or stay in?
Okay, so basically her pussy is just where she thinks her center of like absolute self manifests, is what she's saying. Your absolute truest, most honest center of self. That's what she is putting in your pussy.
It says if you don't want to buy a puppet, you can do the same thing. You can just carry like a hand mirror in your purse.
Oh yeah, girls are told to do that. We're told we're supposed to look at it.
Yeah, look at it and ask it questions.
Yeah.
Are you actually supposed to do it?
Because we don't see it. You guys see your penis every day. We can't see it as.
She says, like keep the mirror, take a peek at your pussy, greet her with a hello, gorgeous, and notice what you get in return.
Then I've never tried it. I can't knock it till I've tried it, but I do think girls need to look at it because we don't know what it looks like.
But that would be objectively weird for you to look at your own vagina and go, "Hello, gorgeous. What do you want to do today?" That would be a very. What if your roommate was like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah.
I mean, that's
could you not do it in the kitchen?
If a guy pulled out his dick, and go, "What's up, buddy? What are you trying to get into later?" Fist bump. Hey, pal, we got. It really is like that, like cartoon of those rats where I pull out my penis. Like, what are we gonna do? The same thing we do every night. Try to
take over the world.
Yeah.
And what does she expect to get in return? Like a wink or something? Like,
yeah, there's not. A lot of these books always say crazy supernatural shit. Where I'm like, if you did that, it would just be your fucking.
But she does think there's something a little more like mystical about the pussy than just like a gut instinct thing. Like she talks about like the history of the pussy, and she says that there's like these ancient traditions that I think she still believes in. She said like flashing your pussy at the devil would frighten him and protect you from his grasp.
Okay, so that's gets into such a weird, like, what the fuck does she?
Yeah, is that what is the metaphor with that?
Or is there even?
There's no metaphor. She just said,
she's like,
she's bringing up these examples. She said ancient Egyptian women flashed their pussies at the fields, frightening away evil spirits and inspiring the crops to grow. Well, fishermen's wives would flash their pussies at the sea before their men would depart for a fishing trip, ensuring safe travels.
In what culture? Where is the evidence for this?
No, there's a lot about this though. Like Shakespeare, that's why the moon is so important in a lot of Shakespeare's, because it's a symbol of the egg and the woman, the reproductive.
Yeah.
Like there's the folklore is about the vagina a lot.
According to Russian tradition, if you're being pursued by a bear, a pussy flash will stop the assault.
But that's the myth about periods, isn't it? Like,
I don't think so.
Even bears would be like, "Fuck this." I see a period. Like, man, I'm 1,000 pounds. I can't deal with that.
Yeah.
I don't think so, because she talks about how
if you ask
it'll
a bear,
protect
will you go
from
down
the
on me?
devil.
He goes, I don't know, I've got it.
But that's because it's.
I think she thinks there's some protective property to it.
And she thinks that she using those as just like, oh, these are interesting facts, or she still to this day thinks that they have protective powers over.
She still to this day thinks that.
I wouldn't say that's true at all.
I mean, it's obviously.
Yeah.
I don't think flashing your pussy to a bear. I don't know who's.
I don't know.
I feel like it puts you more of a vulnerable because you're open. You're literally.
That's the last ditch.
Yeah.
I think most women in 2019 would say it's the reason they're going to be in harm's way.
For sure.
Is that?
And I think any logical man would
It's like
agree.
the Chappelle Bar. He says that you walk around like $50,000 in your pocket everywhere you
But at the same time, I'm not scared about like bears and a bad crop season. Things have changed. Like we're scared.
Creepy guys around you way more than a bear.
Exactly.
Yeah. If a bear showed up, you're like, thank God it's not Fred. Thank God. He's just gonna eat me. He's not gonna fucking talk to me about my feet or some shit.
She updates this. She updates this for the modern time.
Oh, good.
And she says
Harvey Weinstein.
Before she goes to a job interview, or she talks to her students before they go to a job interview, they dab pussy juice behind their ears.
This is Gwyneth Paltrow.
That is not.
This is Gwyneth Paltrow stuff.
Voodoo shit. At the same time, I would like to buy some. At the same time, I would like to.
She says a few dots of pussy juice perfume before a date, it was like crack cocaine to a guy.
Can I say though, this is really interesting.
What is the?
Can I say though? No, I'm not going to sit here and be like, I also do that. But can I say that there is, when you're ovulating, it is noticeable how different men are around you. Like
I think
how
they
you
act that way all the time.
No,
I think you could be like,
no.
I have my period and it's about to fall off.
When I'm
like,
ovulating, I notice
It's
that I'm getting
hormones?
more
Do
like.
hormones affect us like that, like the way it affects
Yeah,
bees
it
and
has to.
shit.
It has to. Like
I
it
mean,
has to. Like
you look at other animals and like cats for
They know.
a reason.
They're
When
doing that,
when
like,
a female
thing.
cat
Yeah.
ovulates, all the man cats in the vicinity like descend upon her. Like they're
I notice getting like more attention, or like boys reacting different, or like if I'm seeing someone, we have he's a lot more like on it for that full like 2-3 days. Yeah. But but then I am, so I don't,
So
because
do
I
you
have to
think
be. So
You think of pussy juice perfume?
I don't know if I can't. I wouldn't want to try it.
Yeah. She says when they go to want to feel powerful at a work presentation, they go panty free and add temporary tattoos, press on jewels, and stickers to decorate their pussies.
Oh, wait. Okay,
Actually,
so
I will say
going
one-
pussy free to a job. I mean, are panty free? So
Pussy
they don't-
free.
I will say though, when I was doing my finals at university, I wore matching really, really nice, my absolute sexiest underwear for every single thing because I felt really, really powerful.
That's like, isn't that like a superstition that like people like wear a certain shirt?
But
a certain shirt so the eagles come in the Super Bowl type shit?
because what it was it made me feel really sexy and attractive, which then translated to me being confident and fine and focused and ready. I felt ready. So, but I don't know if not wearing pants would. I just think I'd be uncomfortable.
Yeah, because they're centering this around either decorating or freeing up your pussy.
It's literally what it is emitting.
Because the thing you said sounded like it made you feel sexier.
And confident, and yeah.
Yeah. She says, even more powerful, she started unsnarling traffic by merely thinking about her pussy.
Okay, that is...
No, sorry.
Nope.
Sorry, no. I'm gone. No. It's a no from me, Regina.
Any of these books will make a mildly reasonable point, and they're like, yeah, and then you could control the the seas with your vagina, and you're like, no.
She said, I asked her for her help in finding the perfect parking spot and found one every single time.
But this is some weird deity where you're the all-knowing.
I've never tried it. I feel bad about knocking this because I've never tried that.
Do you feel bad
as a
about
rational human being, do you think your pussy possesses supernatural powers?
Please. Focus on your pussy for 5 seconds and then make it rain outside.
I make it
Yeah,
rain.
I just want you to
Professor X? Professor X?
make it rain other than the skinny men in their 20s, too.
Yeah.
Really.
Very good.
But this is also the third time that people have used these outrageous... they can do anything they
Just
want.
give them X-Men powers.
Yeah, but they use it to find parking spots.
Yeah.
This is-
it really is.
That's meant.
The power of a god.
Because we did one about angel therapy, which
Oh, you said we need to sit on someone's back or something.
yeah.
No,
Yeah.
that was a different. We do a lot of weird. a lot of. No. That was another time. No, another time I lost my dignity.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, really lost.
So yeah, this one where you had the power of little angels, and people would be like, "Yeah, we use them to help find us." There's a little parking spot
There's
angel.
been 6 where it's I use it to find it. What the fuck is that with? It's not that hard to find a parking spot. Finding a parking spot is not that crazy of a task.
Yeah. She said I would tap into my pussy whenever I was creating a new piece of curriculum and get an incredible download that both shocked and inspired me. But
So now you're saying you could literally Rosetta Stone know all knowledge through your vagina.
I still remember the specific moment she said, "Divorce now," and she divorced her husband.
So I feel like this is there could be a line where you're women empowerment and then supernatural
It's
nonsense.
starting to make more sense as well. So she's single and left her husband and was in a happy marriage and now loves nothing more than her pussy. Well, yeah. Yeah. I could really do that.
Do you think that if women could, they would just do without us? You guys would just find some sort of...
No, because someone asked me that because I was...
I'm not talking about
No.
sex, marriage.
No, I think girls love, so a lot of girls who still love the whole thing of marriage and the stability and the comfort and the also that person. Don't do you guys down. You guys are lovely. When you find your best mate and he makes you all happy, it's lovely. But the thing I missed when I was going through my dry spell was, and it sounds mad, skin. I had I was having a lovely time masturbating. I had lovely friends, but lying next to someone, just that skin, the skin on skin. I don't think women would. I think straight women, both, but speaking of straight women, I wouldn't do without men because there's nothing. There's something so wonderful about that.
Say this testimony when they're lining us up and fucking killing us. And when Jill Stein wins in 4 years, we all have to be castrated legally.
She says, my pussy stood powerfully, like the dread female of heaven, when my daughter was 7 years old and unable to read.
What?
Sorry?
Wait, what did you just say?
What did she? Her daughter, what?
She said, pussy...
7 years only just teaching her the word pussy.
Yeah, I was going to say, no wonder she can't read. You've been,
probably going to be a little
you've been
fucking
playing
illiterate.
with
She
yourself.
said, pussy first guided me towards hiring special tutors, then whipping her out of a progressive school and moving her into the best school in New York City for kids with dyslexia. What's more, she helped me get my daughter's expensive private education fully funded by the state. Pussy showed me the way. She doesn't explain how she got it fully funded by the state.
Is she is that just a big metaphor for I had sex with the mayor of New York City?
Yeah, I don't. It's just that she identifies all decision making as happening in the pussy. So that's fair enough.
Not
If that's what
just
she does.
I think
decision
you're
making.
trying to really just say this
No,
more than
but
it's bullshit.
She makes things happen
Because her
with her
pussy's magical.
pussy.
I think it's
She
maybe.
finds parking spots. through
I
her
don't think
pussy.
this is like this shouldn't. This is more about her pussy. Like I'm fascinated because
She parts traffic.
parts.
with
Yeah,
her
exactly.
pussy,
She
so-
she
You'd say that
parks.
the C
Her
was
pussy
actually
parks
part
her
with the
car.
pussy, and the Jews.
Her
were
pussy's
able
like an early Tesla. You just park itself. Like.
And if it's this last example, might make it more clear.
Okay.
She says one of my students, Fran, decided to see whether pussy could work at a distance.
Sorry.
She was
to astral projection.
Okay.
She was watching a football game with her husband on TV, and the Seattle Seahawks were losing badly to the Green Bay Packers.
Oh, I can't. I know where this story's going.
She knew her husband would be in a dark mood if the Seahawks lost, so she lifted her skirt and flashed pussy energy at the TV screen. Miraculously, the game turned around in the last corner. It went to overtime, and with one touchdown, the Seahawks won. I remember that game. After the game, the quarterback was telling reporters that God is so good, only Fran knew the truth, that God is impotent until the goddess shows up to turn him on.
I also think there's a really difficult precedent in telling women that, like, if they want their team to win, they need to flash their pussy at them. Like, I feel like football players have enough easy way as things
Also,
go.
they
Without
do
women,
great.
like they do fine. They don't need women standing in the stands all flashing them their
Also,
their,
just
their nunnies.
imagine the husband.
Yeah, if anything, yeah.
Just imagine the husband turning around and his wife is just
Standing there with their eyes closed, just flashing the field. Like, it'd be like, Fran, could you not? Like, I don't.
I'm
Good
a
for her.
Patriots fan. What are you?
Yeah, like, good for
How
her.
much I got money on the game. I'm fucking throwing my-
Yeah, if her pussy does, good for her. That's brilliant. I think it's
Also, I feel like it was a weird reason to use your pussy energy to help your husband not get super mad because the game was going.
Why don't we talk about why your husband can't function if
Yeah.
his team loses? like, let's talk about
Like
that.
it sounded like her husband was gonna beat her if the Seahawks
Yeah.
lost.
Like, she really needs.
Do you know that in England though, numbers of domestic violence goes up when a
when a
man's
team-
team loses?
yeah.
That is like
You guys like
Yeah,
fucking.
we-
They have like
the hooligans.
police
and-
officers.
You guys have, like,
come.
riots
yeah,
and
yeah,
shit.
yeah.
Yours.
yeah.
I think people should just be arrested for enjoying soccer. I think that's the original crimes.
But I'll tell you what, you wouldn't want those women flashing themselves because that would just cause even more problems.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Like,
Christ.
if they found out, if they came home, their team hadn't only lost, they found out that their wife had been flashing the pub, they'd go, fucking do lally. Like,
I like how it was so terrible. You had to say a word. I didn't even understand what you're like. Doolally. And I'm like, that's bad. I don't know what it was.
Fuck that
that
is.
is
Can't Mary Poppins at the end of that sentence. That's how.
Yeah, and then she talks about meeting another man. After
I like how it's like it all says about like divinity and like finding yourself, and it's like, anyways, here's how to use your pussy to make a guy happy.
yeah.
You know, all roads end to that where it's like, it's all about you. And then anyway, I used
Yeah.
it to make him
So
happy.
that last one, they were like, just keep giving him blowjobs and he'll do the dishes. And you're like, there's got to be a bigger, like, dream. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she met a venture capitalist that she met him before divorcing her husband.
Mhm, bet she did. Yeah, good girl. It's all making sense now. You found a rich boy, didn't you? Now you're like, it's my pussy. It's like, hon, we've all tried that. No, you didn't. You met a rich boy with a nice car, and that is okay. You should have
The market's in
You
Asia.
should have written that book.
Yeah. Fucking
Hey,
dude
guess
that's
what?
rich.
Money does do it.
Yeah.
That's what it could be called.
This is how he describes.
Go
She
on.
described he was an art collector, a philanthropist, a
Yeah.
venture capitalist, a genius, a huge player on the world stage.
Yeah.
He believed utterly in great food and wine and great art.
Oh.
Literally is like if
God.
a woman. I feel like you guys are gonna get together in the lab. Like we finally made it. The ideal man. He's both
Bullshit.
rich but pursued his dreams, and he's.
Bullshit.
Yeah. She doesn't even describe his personality
No,
really.
of course she doesn't.
Yeah, 'cause that-
No, of course she doesn't. 'Cause
You know,
she's
that's
got-
the thing is people are always like, guys only care about looks, and I'm like, well, you guys only care about what we've done. So I mean, we're just the same.
She's just listed all his CV. That's what she's listed, and then of course she's got the fucking freedom to write a book about what her pussy's making decisions. the guy's like bang rolling her. It is a Tesla. She's driving a Tesla. They literally find parking spots. Like
Yeah.
this isn't her pussy.
He also says all this crazy shit, and the guy's like, Like, that's just, yep.
And then he's like, babe, you should write a book.
Yeah. He's like, doesn't even make eye contact. He's
my
like, yeah,
God.
totally. Yeah.
No, it's making
Yeah.
sense
You
now.
should have a mirror and look at your vagina.
Yeah.
So.
She wanted to marry him, so she walked around his house and placed a drop of her pussy juice on every object into it,
Yeah, that's what did it.
including his toothbrush.
Right, so she came all over the house and hoped that he would propose.
But then he died.
Okay.
Wait, did
Okay.
you
So
fucking
actually,
you
her
killed
pussy killed him.
you murdered him. Poisoned a man.
Her pussy
to
didn't
death
get
with
her
your
what she
vagina.
wanted. Her pussy destroyed a man.
To go
Yeah.
brush his teeth, and he was like, "What the hell is that
Yeah.
smell?" And then dropped over dead.
Yeah.
Jesus.
But she turned his death into
The book.
her finding herself. She said it was actually a blessing because
Because it's really all about you.
Oh,
Him dying taught me that I needed to focus on me right now anyway. So
and then she goes a little bit more into some stuff. This book was very long. It was like 600 pages. But she says when a woman is having
that's nothing. That is nothing.
She said when a woman is having a particularly difficult time in her life, she may need one-on-one support. I have a special role for my more advanced students, which I call pleasure slave driver.
oh my
Been a sex
God.
slave?
That's her role.
This is where one student will agree to pleasure slave drive another, ensuring that the first woman builds.
Before you
builds-
you need to explain what the hell a pleasure slave drive is.
This where the first woman builds enough pleasure into her life to keep her flying at high altitude. The idea is for the pleasure slave driver to press her very nearly against her will to hold the space of her own radiance.
Okay,
What the hell is a pleasure slave?
Oh, I just think that's having a good mate.
What is pleasure slave driving?
That's just having a good friend. Like, you know, when you turn around, you always got those friends who, like, when you're having a bad day, they turn around like, no, mate, you're this. Like,
Why'd you call him a pleasure slave?
yeah, why would you need the name? Like, that's just being a good friend.
Yeah, that's like the darkest, weirdest way to
Yeah.
be being there. Like to being like, yeah, he's a good buddy, always cheers me up. He's a pleasure slave driver.
He makes sure I know my radiance every single fucking
Yeah, I think
day.
anytime you bring slavery into something, you definitely,
I don't
but you
know.
both-
There's
it's
no
a
good
bummer.
terms that have slave,
Yeah,
slavery,
yeah.
bondage.
That's not the pinnacle of kindness.
There was also a
in-
weird sentence where she said slavery was a state of mind.
Oh.
She did not say this. in this
Yeah,
book.
She did. She was talking about.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
just thought
What
it.
was what was the content?
Well, she said Harriet Tubman was.
No, don't.
No.
No, don't.
Say.
Go on.
What did she
Harriet
say?
Tubman
What
was
did she say about
She
Harriet?
was talking
Tubman?
about Harriet Tubman and how slavery was a state of mind, and she knew because she was like connected to her pussy.
I don't think.
Yeah, she's been on Conan 6 times.
That's
Where's
not.
she fucking
that's
out? She's hilarious.
You're bullshitting. She's not been on Conan.
She's been on Conan 6 times.
Our culture is dead.
Yeah. So I don't know. You seemed like you kind of agreed with her a little bit.
What? Cole?
Yeah, you were definitely.
Wait,
you were definitely.
wait, insofar as like I think it's a very, very powerful force thing. I think
I want to
women
hear
are.
you say the sentence "slavery is a state of mind."
Yeah, yeah.
Then that's actually
Yeah.
what we're promoting the
When we-
podcast with.
when
We will
we-
destroy you.
When we
That shit
edit
that I
around
remember.
this, yeah, good, silly goose. No, I think I understand with where she started.
Yeah.
I think where she's taken it is I'm a little bit perplexed, but
First half is kind of. There's like some good points.
On
and
point.
it's-
Yeah.
Half, second
Yeah.
half.
But
You're
I-
talking about your pussy literally.
I don't know
Controlling the
about
wind.
dabbing pussy juice behind the back of your neck to get a job.
Yeah,
That's
pussy
what
juice
I don't.
dabs is where it
All right.
lost you.
And then with
Do
the
you
parking,
think
it really
that would
lost
help?
me at parking.
Pussy juice. You're an interviewer. Small little pussy juice, right? See what you're about.
maybe
you came
Maybe
ready.
I'll
Someone
do
came
that
ready to
for the
work.
next month. I'll do that, and we'll see what happens.
In a couple of years, you're interviewing people. You're like, is that pussy juice I smell? Men start using pussy juice. It's just
People are just super into my conversation. Like,
It's that amazing.
what are you doing
fun.
later,
Just
man?
your crowd work is
Can I get you a drink or?
Everyone's just so nice. Hey, let me get the door for you, pal. I just really want to sit with you later. I don't know. Can I buy that?